Okay, so I originally had stopped the front end, I think, and I don't know, we may be paused. So we're in the end of Think on Purpose pop-up hour. And before we went to intention, I was talking about memories and how you're preserving memories and creating moments and sharing them, because we take pictures all the time on phones and that's where they live. And then, sometimes we share them and sometimes we don't. So I was posing the question, like, what do you do to preserve the memories and the moments that you're creating, and how you're sharing them with your loved ones, so that they have them also. And then Foxy jumped in here, and now she was just sharing her intention of putting some stuff to some photos that she was sharing on Facebook. So Foxy, you were telling me that you went back to a post that you made yesterday and you were adding some details.
Yeah. So it's they're pictures of a place. I think it's called Forester Garden. I could be saying the word wrong, but it's like a historical place.
Okay.
Here in Fresno. And it's like this. Okay, so like in the late 1800s, early 1900s, this guy came down here and bought some land in the winter and then realized in the summer that it's freaking hot here. So he dug down in his land and created a home for himself under the ground because it's
like
cooler.
A shelter.
I wouldn't call it a shelter because it wasn't like a hole, because there's lots of skylights, and he planted trees, and then they would come out of the skylights, and but yeah, he slept down there, and but it's very exposed to the top, but it was still a lot cooler down there. But when he lived there, he had windows and doors, so it probably was even more cooler. But yeah, and it had like his original stove and his original ice box, and his summer quarters and his winter quarters, and all where he took a bath, his chapel, like it was all these different rooms. So I went back in and I said what the room was, and stuff like that. So it's not just this random picture of a a courtyard or something. So
yeah, so that's cool, because what I'm hearing is that you went back to like share more of the story about the adventure that you got to take to experience being in this man's world of underground and sharing more of the details so that it's more of a story instead of just a picture. It is giving the detail.
Yeah. While he was alive, it was like 50 acres of all of these rooms, and he
all underground.
Yeah, he hand dug all of it.
Wow.
And so it's just amazing the fact that he dug it by hand. I mean, he had shovels and stuff, but he didn't have like equipment. It was like a long time ago. So
wouldn't that be passion? Like,
yeah.
If there was a passion, like you have done it with your hands, like there had to been some fiery passion to do that much work.
Yeah. And there was a huge layer of rock that he had to get get it deep enough to actually, have the ceiling space and the space in between, and all that kind of stuff. And he did really interesting things, you know, that were really forward thinking. So it was just cool to be there in, you know, this like place that he imagined and created, you know, and how much more amazing it would have been if he was actually able to finish before he died his, you know, what he was trying to create, because he's trying to create a resort where people could go and stay. I mean, he had this huge ballroom.
What?
You know, yeah.
I need to come visit.
I'm telling you, it's like so cool. Now they only own 10 acres of it, but he used to have 80 acres of land. But when he died, there was no will. So they sold all of his property and divvied out the money with his remaining 5 siblings. And so one of his siblings used his money to buy back as much as he could of the land so that he could, you know, keep what his brother had created. But now what you can walk through and see is so much less than what it was. But how amazing to think about, you know, what it was. Just like,
yeah, that vision, that's wow.
Yeah, so it was pretty
That's so cool. That's so cool. I think we definitely have more that we could talk about with this, because I have some ideas and some thoughts that I was like, whoa, okay. But we are at the top of the hour, so I'm going to pause here so you can grab celebrations and intentions. There. Okay, we have 5 magic minutes to mastermind about thinking outside the box for anything in your life right now is really where my mind is going. Like for a pop-up think on purpose, like what is something that you might need to think outside the box for right now, or something you just need more, you know, processing time around? Is there anything that's coming to you?
Well, I think I'm always thinking outside the box with our group program. I'm always thinking of ways that I can have the group organized better, make the information easier to find. You know, so today when I was thinking of that, I thought, oh, maybe I'll set up a Google Classroom. And so I did. And then it was the thought process of, how will I use this? You know, is this really the best place for this information? How will it work? So, you know, it was a thought. I took it into action. We'll see if it goes forward or if it's something I just end up deleting. But I created a calendar. Like, I did a bunch of things that I thought would possibly support that endeavor. So yeah. So yeah, so I think that I get a lot of ideas, and that doesn't mean that I necessarily take them all into action. Some of them, they're just a thought and they stay a thought, or they work their way back around, and I think of them again, and then maybe that's when I take action, or maybe I still let it go and it comes back around again. So I think that also, I think other times we get ideas and they're not really for us, they're for someone else. And so it's also a matter of listening to other people and going, oh, hey, I had this idea. I think it was for you. And being fearless enough to do that, to share that idea, and you know, say, hey, you know, I've got this idea. I think it's for you. Let me know what you think. You know, I'm here to brainstorm or whatever. I think for some people, thinking of ideas is super easy. It comes naturally. And for others, it's Pinterest is their best friend, because they can maybe execute, but they don't have the ideas, and so it's knowing where you can go for different ideas, if it's like an app or if it's a person or a group of people, being able to mastermind or, whatever it is, to support you in that thought process.
Yeah, I love what you said about the fact that sometimes the ideas aren't for us. And that's, I think a lot of where, for me, like connection strategist was like bringing solutions that I've either experienced or I've heard that have worked for other people that, I love to learn. So hearing experiences, and then I love to share. So putting all those things together of what you just said is, what I'm really passionate about is just being able to help people find the solutions, whether it's through me or through ideas that I've heard that, people are just willing to give it a chance to see if it's for them, because all of the things aren't just for us that we think. They aren't there to only serve us. It is for other people a lot of the time. So I love that you shared that.
Yeah, I think that some people can get weighed down with the amount of ideas that they come up with, thinking that they have to follow through with all of them. And we don't. We don't need to follow through with everything that comes into our mind. Even if it's something wonderful, it doesn't mean that it's for us to do, or for us to do right now, or for us to do by ourselves. Maybe it's something where someone's going to come across and you're going to collaborate with them on it, so there's lots of ways that you can accomplish things that you think of.
Yeah, I like the idea of being open to the possibilities of, if it's for you, if it's for someone else. But I also really want to honor the fact that, like, you had the thought and then you did take action towards it, because the only way we find out even what our passions are, what we like, what we don't like, is by taking action. So being willing to take an action step to see, what it's like in there. Maybe this is the program for you, but maybe it's not. But we don't really know that unless we, move towards it to experience any of it. So I love that.
Yep. Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, well, we are at the top of the hour and we're going to transition into Fearless. So I'm going to stop here. Thank you for joining me on the Think on Purpose pop-up hour, Foxy.
You got it.